find out if President Obama's policy affects you, call Gehi & Associates at 718-263-5999 for a free consultation.
Good news, under the new immigration rule, you may qualify for a green card. Call us at 718-263-5999 for additional information. Gehi & Associates, attorneys and counsels at law. Hello viewers, this is attorney Naresh Gehi, and today we're going to talk about the new Obama policy with reference to the Family Unity Program. Yes, there are many misconceptions about this program, and a lot of our viewers are thinking that it's an amnesty. Firstly, do not be misled. This is not an amnesty. This is a particular category which is going to benefit a limited number of people. So today, before we discuss the Obama policy with reference to family unity in detail, we are going to talk about what is happening in immigration today. And after that, we are going to get into the meat and potatoes of the Family Unity Program. Joining me today on my show is Sandeep Nair, who received a lot of questions with reference to the Obama policy, as well as with reference to what's going on in Congress, with reference to the changing immigration laws. Welcome, Sandeep. It's a pleasure having you on my show.
Thank you for having me, Attorney Gehi.
It's a pleasure. Now, Sandeep, you've been receiving a lot of kind of hits on YouTube, hits on our computer systems that explain it to us, or at least provide a video to our viewers about what's going on with the latest changes in the world of immigration. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
All right. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about what's going on. Then after that, you can interject, you can stop me and ask me the questions. Firstly, there's good news from the world of immigration. Now, this applies to people, especially the 11.4 million illegal people in this country. The numbers have dropped down according to a recent research. So we have close to around 11.5 million illegal immigrants in this country. So now, after the election, what happened is that the Republicans lost because they had an extremely anti-immigrant stance. But now, the tide is changing a bit, which means that even the Republicans and the Democrats want to talk about immigration and they want to resolve issues. So there are two sides of this particular equation. The one side of the equation is about border security, and the second part of it is the enforcement, and the other part of it, part B, is about giving benefits to immigrants. So Sandeep, let's talk a little bit about what are your concerns about this policy, and we'll talk about it in intricate detail later. What's happening with immigration there?
So the president proposed 4 ways towards this immigration reform. The first one was to continue to strengthen and secure our borders, as you said, to crack down on companies that hire undocumented workers,
right?
To establish a legal path towards citizenship, which was your part B, and to streamline legal immigration for those who are playing by the rules. So my concerns are, what does the president mean by to crack down on companies that are hiring undocumented workers?
All right, so let's basically take each prong of the test. Number one, you rightly mentioned about, firstly, it's about strengthening our borders. That has always been a priority in this country. But I want our viewers to know that millions of dollars have been, close to around $876 million or somewhere thereabout has been spent recently in the strengthening of the border. And even the FBI is saying that we don't need, so much. They're saying that exactly, that the crimes on the border have gone down dramatically. So that's a good sign from the FBI stating that exactly. I think things are within control. So as far as my analysis is concerned, we put in enormous time and resources on the border already. But we haven't seen anything comprehensive in terms of immigration reform. So the first thing first over here is that the president, which I agree with him, states that the border should be kind of strengthened, and at the same time, we need to give some kind of legal status to the 11 million people who are illegally living in this country. Now, Sandeep asked me another question right now, and the question was to crack down on companies which are hiring illegal immigrants, which means that if you're working for a donut store, if you're working in a grocery store, if you're working anywhere in a gas station, they're going to find those people in future. They want to go after them aggressively. They want to make role models that America is a nation of laws and you cannot flout the laws of this nation. This is one of the actions that is being proposed in Congress at this point of time. Of course, don't forget, they're also aiming towards immigration reform at the same time.
What does President Obama mean by a legal path to citizenship?
Legal path to citizenship means that giving illegals some kind of work permits or a way to establish a life in the United States. For example, there are many people who may have American citizen children over here and they're taking care of their children are going to school, but they do not have their green cards or their work permits. So the way I look at the law, initially, these people, undocumented immigrants, are not going to get the green cards right away. So, that's what exactly is being proposed. And mainly it's going to be more like the Dreamers Law that came out, wherein they're just going to get, it's not the Dreamers Law, but it's the Deferred Action Law. So that came out wherein people are just going to get the work permits and they'll be able to apply for travel documents. Don't quote me on this, but this is my gut feeling. That's what they will be proceeding with.
My understanding that President Obama says that this is not amnesty and that there are a set of requirements that are necessary for illegal aliens in the country to meet before they can even consider going towards permanent residency.
Yes. And some of the requirements, of course, that, it's an unwritten rule that you have to be a person of good moral character, you have to pay a penalty in this country, and you should have a clean record. These are just some of the, and plus you have to learn English. So these are some of the requirements which will be proposed, I believe, very shortly, once if, they try to establish some kind of, common ground between the Republicans and the Democrats. But the good news is that according to a recent news, which I was just reading, there's been tremendous support from the Republicans also. So that means that we are going to see some reform. But in the meanwhile, Attorney Gehi has a request for our viewers. And I want you to pass on this video to everybody that you know. And there's a big reason behind it. Folks, we need to keep the pressure on. We need to keep the pressure on the Republicans and on the Democrats to ensure that we finally get comprehensive immigration reform wherein people can be documented in this country. From the other side of the equation here, wherein people say that immigrants are just not doing the right thing in this country, there's a message I would like to say it. Nothing in this world is perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. The other side is that a lot of immigrants are hardworking, and if they pay penalties, and if that penalty can be used by us for the betterment of our system, I don't see any reason why they should not be getting the work permits in this country, because they come into our system, they can pay the back taxes, and I believe this is going to be a middle ground. Of course, we cannot, at this time, the best approach would be to take the middle ground and see that things just basically fall in place, and it should be a win-win situation for everyone. Sandeep, your thoughts on that?
I think that's obviously the reason why there's bipartisan support.
That is correct.
That's why there's Republicans and Democrats agreeing on the same idea.
Yes, and that's what I propose to everyone. I think both the parties are thinking very wisely, and I think there should be some kind of comprehensive immigration reform in that regard. Now, Sandeep, you have any more questions? So let's sum up this part of what's going on right now. So our viewers are desperately waiting about what has come out in terms of the Family Unity Program.
So what is the Family Unity Program?
The Family Unity Program. Now, this is a completely different topic. All right, folks? A different topic altogether we are talking about. Now, this is something that came out recently. Again, the caption is Family Unity Program, and you're also seeing the headline on your screen about the Family Unity Program that we are talking about here. This program is already in place, so that's good news. The effective date is going to be in March. But the good news is that, for example, you crossed the border and you came into this country, all right? Sneak through the border here. You're married to an American citizen. Now, in the past, you had to go back to your country, wait over there for the waiver, and if the waiver was not granted, and if you're illegal here for more than 1 year, you're subjected to the 10-year bar. This was a harrowing situation for the family. But now, under this rule, the president has said, you're an American citizen, I understand your husband crossed the border and came in, or your wife crossed the border and came in. You're married to her. Now what you can do is you can apply for the waiver year, which was not possible under the old law. So you apply for the waiver year, get it approved here, then your husband or your wife can safely go to the home country and come back on a green card. And that is brilliant. Now, there's a limited category of people that can actually benefit from this particular policy. Number one, you have to be an immediate relative. Now, Sandeep, your question might be, what is an immediate relative?
Exactly. What is an immediate relative?
Now, an immediate relative means you have to be the spouse or child under the age of 21 of an American citizen. Or you can sponsor your parents because they are immediate relatives. Now we'll take simple examples because I know the law is always complicated and it's always a good idea to clarify everything for our viewers. For example, now let's take Sandeep over here. Sandeep is an American citizen here. His wife sneaked through the border, came without inspection, got married to Sandeep, and now Sandeep has 2 children over here. But his wife cannot get a green card here because she crossed the border and she came in. Now, what will happen is that in the past, Sandeep was scared to send his wife back home because he was worried that if the waiver does not get granted, then the problem is that she'll be stuck in the home country for 10 years if she has been illegal for more than a year. But now, you can apply for the waiver here, get it approved here, and then you can send your spouse back to the country. Now, the law on the point is extreme hardship. And to demonstrate extreme hardship is a difficult job. That's why you need an extremely seasoned lawyer to actually fight those cases out. So remember, again, I'm going to repeat, it's good for people who are American citizens whose wives or husbands crossed the border and they came in, they can benefit. Secondly, if you're an American citizen over the age of 21, and if your parents crossed the border and they came in, they can benefit. If you have children under the age of 21, if you are an American citizen, and if your children crossed the border and came in, they can benefit. So this is good news for a limited number of people. But if you're a green card holder, if you're an unmarried child over 21, if you're a married son and daughter of an American citizen, this law does not benefit you. Another important thing is that in our firm we are straight shooters. And that's why people kind of prefer that approach very much. Don't be misled by lawyers, by attorneys, and by consultants who are trying to tell you this is an amnesty. Check with the lawyer. Ask him, do I really benefit under the law? Examine the knowledge of the law in this particular area of law. And then only go and see the lawyer and assign your cases to them. So this is super important because we've seen, people, notorios who are like consultants, and they go out and they just basically cheat people by saying that this is an amnesty. Don't be misled. It's not an amnesty, folks.
Attorney Gehi, that actually brings me back to the breaking news that occurred just yesterday on the 29th of January. President Obama had a recommendation that he asked to streamline the legal immigration for those who are playing by the rules. Does that mean people who already have pending applications?
Yes, that's very nice. That's very intelligent of the president. For example, if you're under the EB3 category, God knows by when you're going to get your green card. If you're under the EB2 category, God knows when you're going to get your green card. If you are from the Philippines, God bless America, because it's taking around 23 years for a brother and sister to come to the United States. I wish there was a procedure that we could apply for a brother and sister even before the brother and sister was born. I'm just making a joke out of it. So imagine 23 years. If I'm 55 years old, do you expect me to come when I'm around 78 years old to this country? Ridiculous. Why? Immigration law needs to change. It is primitive. It is extremely harrowing at times. It's cruel sometimes. It is inhuman sometimes. We need to change the laws for the better, because family unity is the cornerstone of the American way. And right now, people who are playing by the rules are not getting the desired benefits. So I think this is a very, very great statement from the president that people need to help those who have played by the books first. And I think that's a great policy.
Finally, in relation to the breaking news, in relation to the Gang of Eight, the 8 senators, Democrats and Republicans,
Yes.
and President Obama's immigration proposal, he said that children who were brought into the U.S. through no fault of their own, they can also have a pathway to citizenship. This is obviously a reference to the Dreamers.
To the Dreamers, that is correct.
So was what Obama proposed last August 2012, the first step to a pathway to citizenship?
In a way, what he's trying to say is that, I mean, look, right now we've given deferred action status to Dreamers right now. So let's put it this way, that after they've gotten this, after some time, they should be eligible to apply for the adjustment of status. So in a sense, he's trying to basically, that's a fantastic thing. Like, these people have gotten something, why not let them go ahead and get the green cards? That is fantastic. So in a sense, he's not reinventing the wheel. He's trying to say the wheel has already been kind of taken shape now. It's doing pretty well. Why not basically make it a permanent wheel? So that's what it is.
Do you believe that the deferred action requirements would be similar to what future immigration reform will have?
Yeah, it's not going to be exactly the same, of course. I mean, if you're looking at, they don't expect, 82-year-old people to go and get the GEDs at this particular point of time. But at the end of the day, of course, it's going to be very much similar. And I think, what he means by knowing how to speak and read English, it's going to be pretty simple, because we can't expect miracles from people who've never learned English in their lives. How about a Chinese gentleman who came into this country from Fujian, and after that he's been living here? You also have to understand how much he can grasp at this particular age. I'm talking about people who are above 50 and who've lived here for more than 20 years. And because the laws didn't change, they couldn't do much really. Of course, the basic standards would be met, and I'm sure that Congress is going to think about it very closely. And again, as Naresh Gehi says, folks, keep the pressure on. Write to your senators, write to your congressmen. And this was not my success, this was your success, because you made this possible by letting them know that we are a voice in this nation. And right now, every viewer should be writing to the senator. You can go on the White House page and you can even look at your senator right now or your congressman. Let them know that you folks believe in immigration reform. So, I think that's what I'm expecting from you viewers. Thank you very much, Sandeep, for joining us today. So this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and we'll be back again with some more interesting news from the world of law. If you have any questions, we handle immigration cases from the United States and all over the world. Even if you're watching this program anywhere, we'd love to help you. And our initial personal consultation is free, and we can be reached at 718-263-5999. And the instant program constitutes an attorney advertisement under the laws of the state of New York. Sandeep, thank you very much for joining me. We'll be back with some more interesting news from the world of law.
Gehi & Associates, attorneys and counselors at law, specializing in immigration law. Now open. Forest Hills. And Ozone Park, Queens. Immigration, bankruptcy, divorce, personal injury.
Call us for a free initial personal consultation at 718-263-5999. Gehi & Associates, attorneys and counselors at law.